friends, last month I did a buddy read with Mike from Slice of Mike, and we read Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. This is one of those books that I was really excited to read because I had heard nothing but good things about it. I can honestly say that before I opened the book, I had not really heard anything too negative about it. Lots of fangirling, lots of love for the main character, a guaranteed good time, right? First things first, I know that this is a much beloved series, and I mean no disrespect to anybody who liked it. This review is all in good fun. My opinions are honest, but if you like this, I understand why you did. Here are all the reasons why I did not. Number one, 90% of the action happens off screen and is told in summary. That's okay, I guess, if that's the type of book that you want to read, but that is not the kind of book that was sold to me. Looking just at the Goodreads description, it reads, "In a land without magic where the king rules with an iron hand, an assassin is summoned to the castle. She comes not to kill the king, but to win her freedom. If she defeats 23 killers, thieves, and warriors in a competition, she is released from prison to serve as the king's champion. Her name is Celaena Sardothien." Yeah, that's barely what this book is about. I won't spoil anything, but if you really want to read about a kick-ass assassin, turn away. Even the competition ends up sounding more like a middle school gym class with things such as a foot race, climbing, and archery. Everything we hear about Celaena that makes her badass happened off-screen and in the past. There are actual lines in the book that are like, 3 more weeks passed and 2 more people died, and you're like, oh, what? Why? Why are we jumping over that to get to the point where Celaena talks about her clothes again? I know right now you probably don't believe me, but I'm going to show you some stuff from the book. It had been over 3 weeks since her last encounter with Elena, and she had not seen or heard at all, despite the 3 tests she had, the most exciting of which being an obstacle course, which she passed with only a few minor scratches and bruises. Unfortunately, Pilar hadn't done so well and had been sent home at long last, but he'd been lucky 3 other competitors had died, all found in forgotten hallways, all mutilated beyond recognition. So hooray, in that paragraph, like 3 weeks had passed and people had died in the competition, and no, we're gonna just summarize all that and keep on moving, because maybe the prince is around the corner and he's gonna wink at her again. Number 2 thing I did not like was Celaena herself. Celaena is totally the best forever. She can kill anyone, she's fluent in languages, she loves books, and she's really, really, really pretty. I don't know if you heard that, the book is gonna tell you that a lot of times, but she's like really pretty. But LOL, not like too pretty, mostly from being starved while being a slave. Everyone loves her. She loves herself. Even people who don't like her are like, oh, Celaena? She's the best forever. I hate feeling like I'm having my strings pulled, and her characterization was just done so gracelessly. It seems like the Celaena that we're told about, who tried to escape slavery in the salt mines, and the Celaena who spends the rest of the book in the castle are 2 different people. One of them tries to escape slavery through a suicide dash, and the other pulls her covers over her head when someone comes to wake her up. She says things like she doesn't care if she has to win her freedom and fight for her life. She wants to sleep. We hear a little bit about Celaena's hard knock life, but not enough about how this affects her. Like, we don't actually get too much of what it means for her to be a person who grew up in the way that she did and is an assassin, but we do know how she feels about Candy. Candy! Yay! Candy! I don't buy her as the world's greatest assassin. Sorry. People are constantly sneaking up on her. She wears every single emotion on her face, and she's about as subtle as a sledgehammer. Someone leaves a bag of candy on her bed with no note in the middle of competition where people are killing the competitors, like they're dropping like flies, and there is a bag of candy, and she's like, oh, that's cool. I don't know where this candy came from, and it could be poison, but nom nom nom. She eats the unmarked candy because she's the best assassin in the world. We actually get lines in the book about this. He remained in the doorway, fearful that she'd wake up if he took another step. Some assassin. She hadn't even bothered to stir. I know a lot of people love Celaena, but she's a total Mary Sue of a character. Despite whatever in her personality, everyone is attracted to the Mary Sue. Mary Sue is highly persuasive. Her major character flaws are stubbornness and a bad temper, but neither of those things really affect her in any way. I just want to be normal because being awesome is hard. Inexplicable or poorly defined abilities. A perfect singing voice and or extreme proficiency with the instrument of her choice. Speaks several languages fluently. Absurd natural athletic ability. Mary Sue always has excellent fashion choice. So beautiful it's a curse. Unusual hair. Kaleidoscope eyes. Multiple love interests, a dark past, and an abusive father figure. Seriously, go look it up on the internet. Those are all characteristics of a Mary Sue character, and that is Celaena. Number 3, there was a super strange emphasis placed on beauty throughout this whole story. Really, this story should be sold as if you want to read about a pretty girl in a pretty castle being followed by pretty men and wearing pretty dresses while maybe sometimes she carries a weapon and has to do other stuff, this is a story for you. In theory, I like that Mass tried to make Celaena multifaceted and not only an assassin, but hey, she likes clothes. The problem is that that's a very fine line that you have to toe. That can be a thing about her personality, but once you have assassin about to go into a training arena and she's thinking my pants are really ugly, what you've just made is a superficial character and not a multifaceted one. I'm gonna feel icky about your main character if she's thinking about how hard her life as a slave has been and immediately follows up that thought with, and now I'm not beautiful anymore. Number 4 was the writing. This was not good writing. From the beginning, I just was not into it. The way that she sets up the thing is very, very forced. While I was tweeting about it, I mentioned that I could almost hear like the announcer voice in my head. It was very, meet Celaena Sardothien. She's a badass in big trouble. Celaena expected certain things from her life. What she didn't expect was this thing happening right now. Like, that's how the entire beginning of the story read, and eek. Also, I cracked up every other chapter. For those of you who don't know, what we started doing on Snark Squad when we started the blog was recapping the books that we read as children, so Sweet Valley, Babysitter's Club, and Goosebumps. One of the things that we noticed early on about Goosebumps is that R.L. Stine had a habit of ending his chapters and then starting the next one like a second later to create like false drama. Why do you end a scene and then start the next one 1 second later? Why? To create false drama. We named this over at the Snark Squad. Usually these kinds of things are called cliffhangers, but they're not because I can just turn the page and read about what happened 1 second later, so we called it a curb hanger. Mass uses so many curb hangers, and that is just like the marker of my plot doesn't actually have any tension, so I'm just gonna cut the scene off and pretend like it does. Number 5, cliches, cliches, cliches. This story was just full of cliches, and every story uses cliches, but when there are so many just together, done plainly and not very well, it starts to really add up and great. Cocky Prince, who was always winking with an inexplicably evil father who was mainly there to make you feel bad for the Cocky Prince. Even when he's swaggering around and treating women not that great. There was a sexy teaching you how to play pool scene. 2 people speaking close enough for their lips to graze. Who talks like this? He's awful, but I want to kiss him. They made the minority mystical. Number 6, all of the evil people in this book are one-dimensional and totally obvious. Mass stopped short of writing in the diabolical laughter, but basically the person who is bad that you think did bad things is totally the person who does bad things at the end of the book. There's no motivation, there's nothing. Superficial. Bleh. Usually I like to finish these kinds of reviews with positive things about the book, but I'm having a really hard time thinking about positive things. I rated this a 2.5 stars when I finished reading, but as I was looking back and preparing to make this video in particular, thinking about all the things and all the ways that it failed, now I'm having a hard time even thinking about why I gave it 2.5 stars, because this was just a lot of bad stuff. It did read really easy. I got through it very quickly, which is always a nice thing to say about momentum in a story and the ease of reading, so it had that going for it. The love triangle wasn't as awful as I expected it to be. It was a fast read for me, so if you are the type of person that can read and not notice things, maybe you would like this more than me. I know that people say that the series gets better, so maybe that happens more going forward, like she's actually leaving the castle. but I can't say for sure. And I appreciate the sentiment that the series gets better, but what exactly is supposed to motivate me to keep going with the series? Maybe I will. I put a hold on it at the library, so if it gets here and I'm feeling in a particularly masochistic mood, I will maybe continue on with the series, but as it stands, it really was about a 2-star read for me. Don't get it. Help me understand if you can in the comments. On to the next one. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys soon. Dorian peeled himself from the wall. Peeled himself from the wall. Woo! Candy! 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 Cocky Prince, who was always winking and with an inexplicably say that word. I'm running out of words, but not out of feelings.